Darren Moore, and Dele Coker. So it's been this starting lineup for a while for Rochester, Indianapolis. They go from video to live in person here at the Blue Cross Arena. Tip-off between Douglas and Coker is underway for the Premier Basketball League Championship Series, Game 1. Dane Miller with it. Trying to get it down low. Moore does so. Working hard. Left shoulder. Jumper's good.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. They want to be more concentrated on their possessions. That one worked just to a T. That's exactly what they want. Let's see if Rochester's a little bit more patient. They do distribute the ball quite a bit.
Work it down low. That's no good. It's shot by Douglas. Back the other way. Rochester with the lead in possession. 2-0 just underway here at the Blue Cross Arena. Thank you for those watching on Time Warner Sports Channel. Up and in as Dele Coker finds the glass and gets two.
So the two big men getting on the board for Rochester early on.
Working that ball down low seems to be the strategy. Blocked away by Coker. Picked up by Crouch. Back the other way. Pulls up for three. That's no good. Rebound. Put back. Blocked there. And out of bounds. Ball going to the Razorsharks.
Coker with his 33rd block of the season. He is third in the league in that category. We usually see 3 or 4 of them here at Blue Cross Arena.
Ames trying to save it there. Just that extra step right on the line, out of bounds. Ref is right there. Down low, Miller working against Ames. Baseline. Squeezing it through, in and out, no good. Saved. Back the other way come the Diesel. They have not yet been able to get on the board. Scoop layup is good. Finally, Ames ends that drought for the Diesel. So they're able to score here. 4-2 lead early on as more and more people continue to file in here at the Blue Cross Arena.
Ames drove to the basket. We'll see a lot of that today. This is not a team that sits on the outside and shoots, unlike Rochester, who will shoot a lot of three-pointers. In Indianapolis with 100 less three-pointers. So watch for the drive, watch for the penetrations.
Dele Coker missed it, but foul hard on the other end as Douglas went up. And Dele went for the steal, went for the ball, and it got by him, then had to recoup fast, and that's why the foul called on him.
Yeah, and it could have been Coker or Miller at that point. They both got a hand on him.
So Douglas at the line, taking his time. First free throw is good.
70% free throw shooter on the year for a team that just shoots 56.7%. Does Indianapolis. Rochester not much better at 63%.
Second free throw by Douglas is good. So game tied at 4, underway here at the Blue Cross Arena. For those jonesing for some basketball action today, you're going to get it between two of the top teams in the Premier Basketball League this afternoon. Coker swings it around. Stallings. That's in and out, no good. Moore had it, lost it, and Douglas comes away with it. Back the court, Marshall on one-on-one with Crouch. Brings it back out. Ames back to Marshall, setting up that offense for the Diesel.
Noah Douglas, by the way, number 2 for Indianapolis. 6'7", 260. He's going to be tough around the basket. There's a whistle.
Away from the basketball on the other side of the court. And
still waiting for the call. We may have a defensive 3-second violation here. Defensive 3-second violation. So you got an illegal defense. It's a technical foul, not attributed to any player, just the team.
So Hart hits the free throw, and the Diesels take the early lead here.
That was a quick defensive 3-second violation. So it's 5-4 Indianapolis. There we go.
And double team, swinging it around, long pass, stays in bounds, does Ames, then goes one-on-one with Miller, gives it up. Douglas, jumper, that's no good. Picked up by Hart, who skied for that rebound. Pulls it back, jumper, that's no good. Rebounded by Coker back the other way. Jerice Crouch, cut off there and double team, trying to find somebody. Finally does find Reggie Stallings with Hart all over him defensively. 12 seconds left to go on the shot clock. Coach Moten yelling you have time, trying to set it up. Crouch for three, is up and it's down. Therese Crouch from outside.
First basket since the 11-14 mark, so Crouch erases the lead. There's a 5-0 run for Indianapolis.
And finally got the matchup they wanted. It resulted in a Noah Douglas jam. And that's what they were waiting for. So you see this team, the Diesel, they are able to pass the ball around. They want to get the best matchup possible.
Oh,
Miller.
he got hit. He got popped in the head. Good drive by Miller.
And with 8:15 left to go here in this first quarter, game tied at 7. See here Miller working hard.
So that'll be the foul on Ames. You're going to see, or we saw rather earlier, Noah Douglas go up for that basket. He's got 4 points at 6'7", 260, as I said earlier. Once he's coming, you better step out of the way.
Miller, first free throw is good. Razor Sharks this season, if they could look back and say one thing they needed to work on, would have been the free throws as Miller hits that first one. That has been a problem for them all year long, and it never really got straightened out.
No, I think they'd like to be a little higher than the 63%, clearly. But Miller hits 2, and already both teams have been to the line a total of 3 times. We didn't see much of that last week.
Hopefully those free throw issues don't pop up here what could be the last few games of the season for the Razor Sharks. Ames one-on-one with Miller, gets him in the air, can't get it to go, gets his own rebound, swings it back out, and Indianapolis will set up that offense yet again.
And to your point, Lawrence Moten talked about being very precise on every possession. Every foul shot's important as well.
And for 2, as Noah Douglas setting his presence up early on in this game for Indianapolis.
Yeah, it looks like Coker did get a hand on that. That would have been goaltending.
9-9 score. 7:23 stolen away there, back the other way. They've got the numbers. Can they finish? Yes, they can. So Indianapolis and the Diesels take the lead here, 11-9, 7:11 left to go here in this first quarter. And the Razor Sharks, Miller's three's no good. Moore can't get the rebound. Back the other way, Dearborn with it. Or Dearman, excuse me, with it.
Averages 9.4 a game. He's one of their top players. Certainly top rebounder, top scorer on this team at 20.5 a game. They've got 4 players who score in double figures. Rather, 4 players who score double figures on the starting lineup.
As Dane Miller went to the crossover, got his opponent to stretch out, foul him, but couldn't hit the shot. He'll head to the line. We'll take a break. 6:44 left to go here first quarter. Indianapolis is in Rochester with the lead, 11-9. We'll be back with more first quarter action coming up next here on the Rochester Razorsharks Broadcast Network.
For environmentally conscious printing and expanding printing possibilities.
Back here live at the Blue Cross Arena, 11-9 lead for Indianapolis over Rochester. Just getting started here and game 1 of the Premier Basketball League Championship Series. As Rochester heading out on the court, and we'll see what happens today. Seems so far this Diesel team has been able to get up and down the court. They can work the ball down low. They can make a few jumpers. Still very early in this game, though, Kevin.
It is, but we are seeing two teams with they're number 3 and 4 defensively in the league. Rochester allowing 97 points per game. The Diesel 104 points per game, but Rochester scoring 126. Indiana's 104. A lot of offense today, no doubt.
Stallings off the dribble, cut off by Hart, stolen away. Back the other way come Indianapolis. Nice give and go. Scoop layup is good. Great play and great communication by Diesel.
That's our friend David Inobnet, who has played for 4 years on this team. I think he might be up for mayor of Indianapolis.
That's fine. He keeps playing like that and finishing on breaks. He'll have at least 10 votes.
So
Hart back the other way. Swings it over. Inobnet waits, measures. Oh, in and out, no good.
He is their three-point shooter, 34 of 106 on the year. He's shooting 32%.
And way to get back on defense. He does a great job tipping that out of bounds to prevent the easy fast break. And a front line change for the Razor Sharks, seeing their all-starting 5 go out and a fresh 5 out on the court. Louis McCroskey, Aaron Williams, Chaz Crawford, Scott Rogers, and Melvin Council out on the court.
Well done. And before the whistle, too.
Yep. Also, Daniel Artest out for the Diesel.
He's working on Aaron Williams, by the way, who is shopping with Dane Miller for shoes. And Melvin Council.
They do not lack color, I can tell you that. That's a nice shot there, baseline by Aaron Williams. Right matchup. Thank you for those that are watching here on the Soul of the South Network, Innova TV, and Time Warner Sports Channel.
Scott's getting a call for that foul, I believe. Yep. Scott Rogers get called for his first. You mentioned the name Daniel Artest. We talked about him in the open. He is a friend of the Rochester Razorsharks on Facebook, and it was a good friend. He made a nice comment, said we're not going to be a pushover.
Yeah.
And but it's good to see that the players are involved. Everybody's involved in social networking.
And Jermaine Dearman with that jumper there. Dearman starting to get his offense rolling here. Diesel playing well, up by 4, 15-11. Melvin Council, that's in and out, no good. Knocked around and picked up in a foul. And I don't know who they're going to get on. Artest?
It's going to be on Artest. Daniel Artest, by the way, 6'4", 300. Let's take a look. Yeah, he pushed Aaron Williams out of the way, and then he pulled Louis McCroskey's right arm down. So good call, the foul there.
So it will go to the Razor Sharks on their possession.
Here's Greg Foster coming in. Averages 5.4 assists per game, so he should run the point here.
McCroskey going around the screen, foul, and the shot goes. Louis McCroskey will head to the line and try to complete the three-point play.
Well done by Louis, creating his own shot here off the dribble. Start at the top of the key.
Defensive switch was late to get over, and McCroskey, this is where you get your points. Learning how to alter your shot up in the air. As he completes a three-point play, Rochester now within 1. Indianapolis with control of the basketball and the lead, 15-14. Hart with it right wing, gives it up, working it down low. Dearman, jumper, that's no good. Rebounded by Williams, back the other way, Rochester. Rogers brings it up the court quickly. Back out McCroskey. 16 on the shot clock, still plenty of time to set this play up. McCroskey off the dribble. Rogers thought about it. Hart comes out defensively. Now Rogers will drive. Pull-up jumper is no good. Rebound knocked away from Crawford. Back the other way comes Indy.
Well, let's get a defensive stop here. Aaron Williams working hard down low with Jermaine Dearman.
Artest. Pick set, double team. Hart's double team gets around it. Down low, Artest working it. Trying to find somebody. 7 seconds on the shot clock. They're going to have to put it up. In and out, no good. Back the other way. Come the Razor Sharks. McCroskey stepped out of bounds. I saw him do it. I can't even say it was a bad call.
Good defense by the Razor Sharks. Foster wasn't ready for the pass by Daniel Artest under the basket.
It was right in front of us as he was setting up. to get the pass and make the drive towards the hole.
You didn't tell John Scully, did you?
No, I saw it. Ugh. Pullback jumper by Hart's no good. Rebounded by Rochester. McCroskey comes away with it over the council to McCroskey. Scoop layup is good. Rochester with the lead. 16-15. Still 3:30 on the court for Indianapolis.
7 different scores for the Diesel, 6 different scores for Rochester. Louis McCroskey leading the way for the Razorsharks with 5. It's Noah Douglas with 6 for the Diesel. He averages 15 and a quarter a game.
Yeah, the big man Douglas has really been establishing himself in the paint in this game thus far. Now it is Artest with it, looking around, thought about it. Manabe gets it up, down low. Shot clock goes off. They couldn't get it off in time as Dearman couldn't get it.
Great defense by Scott Rogers, who defended well on Inabnet out on the perimeter. Didn't let him take the three-point shot, which is exactly what he does. He drove, he dished off, and that's not his game. So good job, Scott Rogers.
Just over 3 minutes left to go here in this first quarter. McCroskey down low working with Williams. Artest all over him. Williams having a tough time. They're going to say travel on Williams, and he raises his hand. He knew it.
For those of you wondering, that is Ron Artest's younger brother. I don't want to say it's his little brother, but it's his younger brother. That's 6'4", 3 Bills out of Westchester Community College.
Well, he's tough. He's tough to move. Aaron Williams can move just about anybody in the Premier Basketball League. He just could not get any space. Artest would not allow him to move in that paint. Cut off there. It's kickball. They're going to get it on counsel.
Yeah, but a good with 6 on the clock. Now they'll move back up to 14.
Or Artest would have had that and just dunked it. Had counsel not kicked it.
We are going to see some defense today. We've seen it already, and you would expect that in a championship game with two teams that are very equal.
Working it down low, Dearman. No foul called. He's yelling for it. A lot of contact and bodies flying. Counsel, back out Rogers. Scoop layup, that's no good. Dearman with the rebound. Back the other way comes Indianapolis.
Crawford got a hand on that ball last time. He's active here. Scott Rogers not looking like himself offensively yet for Rochester.
And that was a good pass and just right off the fingertips as Foster got it to Dearman. And I just don't know what happened. It looked like he was going to have an easy lay-in, and it goes out of bounds. Back the other way come the Razorsharks. Still up by 1. Both teams going on a bit of a scoring drought here within the last minute and a half. Williams ends it there, able to get one up around Artest. And Artest and Williams have a conversation as now they're fighting down low. Yep. And the ref sees that and says, why don't we stop this?
That is a conversation that's going to be going on for the next 36 minutes of basketball. They got a minute and a half or a minute 50 left here.
And now some of the Razorsharks, they want to make sure that cooler heads prevail here. It's just Artest and Williams trying to establish where they are. And you got to understand, it's alpha dog versus alpha dog.
Douglas and Marshall are going to come in, so Artest is going to have a seat along with John Hart.
Well, they're going to need Artest later on in the game. Razorsharks have a lot of big bodies, and Artest is going to help balance that out as long as he stays in the game. But Douglas, who we talked about earlier on in this first quarter, is having a great game thus far. He's been definitely able to establish himself in the paint. Dearman back over to Foster. Thought about a drive towards the hole, swing it back over. Foster for 3. That's no good. And I'm going to say tangled up are Douglas and Williams.
So that's going to be on Noah Douglas.
Noah Douglas and Williams now getting into it.
No, Melvin Council, good job defensively getting in the face of the shooter on the three-point shot. The Diesel not scored since the 5:20 mark. That was Dearman's last basket. Rochester right now on a 7-0 run. So a quiet 7-0 run, a lot of whistle stoppages, but...
And hard, I mean, it's been hard fought for 7-0 run, too, as Williams missed the first free throw. 3-point lead with 1:36 left to go here in this first quarter. You talked a little bit about the open, in a sense that, Indianapolis coming in saying, hey, listen, don't think we're just going to hand this one over to you. You're going to have to work for this one today.
Neither team is led by more than 4 thus far. We're only in the first quarter, but it's close as we expected it would be.
Swinging it around, trying to get the ball open. Finally foul. Is it a foul or is it a block?
No, Chaz hit him in the head. Chaz hit Anobnet in the head, and I would have put money that Anobnet was going to pass the ball, but that wasn't the case. Chaz doesn't think he did it. Let's take a look. And I don't think he did either.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, there's contact, but
I don't know. There's contact on the hand after the shot.
I think they're saying the hand.
Yeah, he didn't hit him in the head.
Can't make the first free throw, and he's looking for help here. He's had a couple of jumpers and have not gone down. Looking to get that offense rolling. Gets the second free throw.
Oh, wait, that can't be right. They just made us 19-50. It was 18-50 a moment ago. He gets a second free throw. He got 1 of 2, right?
He did get 1 of 2. Did Aaron Williams make 1? I know he made 1 of 2.
Oh,
earlier.
Okay. Yep.
That's where that extra point comes from. Swing it back over Foster. And Namnet. He takes that crossover dribble behind the back. Put back is no good. And
so the Razorsharks ball here.
The Razorsharks will have it, and Dearman does not like that call at all. Council trying to set up Rogers one-on-one against Foster. Goes right by him. Scoop layup and 1.
Well, Scott Rogers, who was 0 for 2 before this, drove for the basket. And this time puts the Razorsharks up by 5. That's their largest lead today.
That's just a shake and bake move.
Yeah, he needed that too for his confidence.
Can't get the free throw, but the tip-in is good. It's going to go to Crawford. Even though I think Douglas may have played a role in that one, Crawford gets the credit.
So Chaz Crawford, the Dragon, they're former Dragons. They didn't play on the same team, though.
Nice reverse layup there by Foster. And Greg Foster and Indianapolis needing some points to cut this lead down to 5 for Rochester. 23-18, and Council about a half-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. He's going to dribble all the way down, start moving with 6 or 7. And he does that now. Pull-up jumper is good. Melvin Council from outside. 3 seconds, 2, 1, stolen. Rogers puts it up. It's not going to count and hits the top of the score or the shot clock. And that's the way the first quarter will peak
Friday
in Indianapolis. And if necessary, game 3 will be right back here in Rochester. Hart with the scoop layup. That's no good. Too hard. Council with the rebound. And back the other way comes Rochester. Rogers with it. Scoop layup, that's no good. Put back is good as Rogers hits the deck. As Chaz Crawford able to put it back in for 2 for those. So the Razorsharks offense continue to roll like a machine right now. Diesel's going to have to get their offense going. Nice pull-up jumper there by Harry Marshall. Stolen away by Hart. They don't have the numbers. Pull back by Hart. Bang. Just that quick. John Hart, and the lead now 5 for Rochester. So 4 quick points for the Diesels. And we talked a bit about their offense in the pregame. They can come back on you. Took a little bit of a nap at the end of that first quarter, though, Kevin.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. No turnovers in that first quarter, according to the stat sheet that I'm looking at. But they have woken up here. It almost went in.
That had the perfect backspin. It looked like it was going to go down, but does not. That means Aaron Williams ahead to the line.
So Williams in the first quarter went to the line once, 0 for 1, but he has 5 points. He and Louis McCroskey 5 each for the Razorsharks And Rochester's leading scorers, it is Noah Douglas with 6 for Indianapolis.
Williams misses the first free throw. McCroskey takes his seat. Dele Coker back in. And Noah Douglas will take a seat, and Jermaine Dearman back in the game for Indianapolis. Second free throw by Williams is good. And back the other way. So a 6-point lead right now for the Razorsharks, 28-22. 10.5 left to go here in this first half. Pullback jumper is no good. Air ball.
That was Keith Lukens, his first attempt, and that wasn't even close. Keith, in his defense, coming off the bench, probably a little cold. I know there's some folks in Indianapolis watching us today.
Rogers with Hart all over him defensively, almost called there, but nothing by the refs.
John Hart called it an illegal dribble.
Yeah, I think he was right. It just wasn't called.
Got to go to the ball here.
Rogers pull-up jumper is no good. Coker boxed out. Back the other way come the Diesels. Hart with it. Swings it around. Perfect block there by Crawford. Back the other way come the Razorsharks. Counsel to Rogers for 2.
Chaz Crawford, he is here for his defense, and that set up that play with a block out at the other end. Melvin Counsel to Rogers. Counsel, a playoff MVP back in 2010, 2011.
And finally, that one goes down from behind the arc. That one was Lukin.
So the 8-point lead now down to 5. 8 points was the largest margin for Rochester.
Rogers over to Counsel. He'll put up a 3 and make it. Melvin Counsel from outside.
We're just talking about Melvin Counsel. His 3 years of playoff experience in this league.
I've seen Counsel play, and I've seen him play here before. I don't think I've ever seen him shoot the ball better than he has since returning to Rochester. He's really worked on his shot a lot from outside, and it has paid off. Dearman, put back is good. What a play by Harry Marshall. That is unbelievable.
I think he might. Dearman put up a prayer and it went in.
He deserves an assist on that. That is a great play. Williams swinging around. Counsel for 3. That's in and out, no good. Coker, put back is good.
Coker cleaning up the board. Leads to 2 points and an 8-point lead again.
Razorsharks building on it. As Counsel working against Marshall. Pick set. Swings it back out for 3. That's no good. Hart with it. Trying to get it back up and around. Rogers to Williams for 2.
Aaron Williams with 8, and Scott Rogers has warmed up here after a slow first quarter.
Marshall trying to get that charge. That was the only thing that was going to prevent Williams from putting that in for an easy 2. He did not get the call.
10-point margin now for Rochester.
7 on the shot clock, working Dearman. Swings it back out. That's no good. Tipped, put back, or saved by Dearman as they swing and try to find the best look possible. Finally up and in.
Yeah, Namdet was 0 for 1 on a possession before that on the 3-point shot, so he's finally on the board for the Diesels, and he is one of their 3-point threats.
And they need Naman and Lugan to hit few threes, and Hart knew it as soon as he made the commitment to try to steal the
ball. Finally made that 3, his 35th of the year.
Rochester with possession. Coker working against Artest. And step back jumper is good.
Coker with 4 in the quarter rather, 6 on the game, and he's almost automatic.
A little bit of pressure by the Razorsharks, but Indianapolis breaks it. Hart with it. Gives it over to Marshall. Marshall, Namnet. Now with Miller all over him, loses it, goes out of bounds. They're all over their shooters.
Dane's getting a little congratulations from the Razorsharks. You know, defense, not something you see a lot of in this league.
Yeah.
And they're certainly playing it tonight.
Well, it's presenting a problem because Indianapolis can't get in their offensive flow. Rochester playing every man close. Stallings for three. In and out, no good. Artest with the rebound. Back the other way with Marshall.
Reggie is scoreless today.
Step back jumper by Hart is no good. Back the other way, Rochester. Therese Crouch gets it over to Miller. Miller to Moore. Working against Artest and couldn't get it up and in.
He just threw it up there to get the shooting foul, and he got that.
Well, he knew the foul was going to be hard, and it was. He just couldn't get his hand up hard enough, and he went a little too hard and off the backboard. See it here. He's like, I know he's going to foul me. Let me just get it up fast. Oh.
No, it wasn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse if he ran straight into him.
First free throw by Moore is good.
So Moore 2 for 3 on the day from the line with 3 points on the afternoon.
Second free throw by Moore is good. So once again, a little pressure by the Razorsharks here, as they've definitely upped their defensive game.
If they can keep Indianapolis off balance, it'll be an easier game for Rochester. 11-point lead here at Indianapolis just hasn't been able to get in the flow, at least in this quarter.
And Dearman just had not been able to get a comfortable shot off. Razorsharks are all over him. Cross court, Crouch to Stallings, jumper, no good. Coker rebound over everyone, puts it back and up and in.
Coker with 8, the leading scorer in this game. And if you don't have Dearman firing on all cylinders, if you're Indianapolis, you have a problem. He's got 20 and a half a game.
And Namnet, no good, front rim, Moore with the rebound. Rochester back the other way. Crouch over to Stallings, don't leave him that wide open. That's no good though. Har with the rebound, so Hart back the court, cross court, Marshall, scoop layup is good. They're gonna call a charge.
Ooh, an offensive foul.
Oh. Wow, I mean, you can see on the replay exactly what was happening.
Well, we missed the bottom of it, but I thought they were going to call it second Aaron Hogg for
they were
don't
about
say that on
to.
Sunday language. He was not in. He was not inside the zone there.
The heel was up. The charge was called.
That's a great call.
Wow. 13-point lead for the Razorsharks. Coker to Miller. He's deep in that corner along the baseline.
I like the call. Did you like the call?
It was, after the replay, it was the right call. Very testy, though.
Thank you for that second look, by the way, guys.
Yeah, Moore with it for 2. This is very important, though, for the Diesel. There's 4:40 left to go in this game. You've got to cut this lead down a little bit. If they can do so, they're still in this game.
8-0 run for Rochester.
They're going to call travel.
Another turnover.
Unraveling here for Indianapolis as Douglas has called for the travel. I think he said, yep, I did do it, as he was going down the court. Miller getting the instructions from Coach Moten as he dribbles right by him. Gets it across midcourt. 4:20 left to go here in this first half. Coker's jumper no good. Back the other way. Come the Diesels. Pull-up jumper by Marshall is in and out and in. What a great shot by Harry Marshall.
And I will repeat what I said to you in the beginning of the game. This is not a three-point shooting team, so they seem to be a little bit desperate here to pick up a few more points. Marshall only 2 for 6 on the year in three-pointers. That's only his third three-point basket.
Oh, they're going to call for the travel.
Yep.
And they're hoping 2014 is the year. Ames gets it over Marshall. Marshall, Douglas. That's good. Noah Douglas with the jumper baseline. And it's a 10-point lead for Rochester, 45-35. Still 3.5 left to go here in this first half. Williams ripping by Douglas, foul called. It's going to be Artest or Douglas. It's either 42 or 2.
That's It's going to be Mr. Douglas.
So Douglas gets it.
Indianapolis with 5 straight points here after the 8-0 run from Rochester. Williams 1 for 2 last time out at the line. He's got 3 points in this quarter.
And he has just not been able to hit that first one. Second one he regroups and usually makes. So that's been the trend for Aaron Williams in this game thus far.
Jermaine Dearman is back in for Indianapolis. Noah Douglas will come out after the foul.
Williams' second free throw is true to form. So first one not been too kind to Mr. Williams. The second one goes down, and it is an 11-point lead by Rochester. Marshall, met by Crouch, goes right by him, and they're going to call a foul on Jerice. So Jerice Crouch will get that one. And that will put Harry Marshall at the free throw line. 3:13 left to go here in the first half. And that's no good by Marshall. So Indianapolis going to have to get some points down, try to get this within a shooter's chance here. Second free throw by Marshall's no good. So Indianapolis having trouble at the line. Crouch, draw a double team. He switched, get it over to Williams. Baseline jumper is good. You're going to have to get a lot closer and up on Mr. Williams. Giving him that much space, not a good idea. Cross court, Dearman gives it up. Marshall, Hart, thought about it. Shooter, jumper, that's no good. Rebounded by Moore.
Took a little bit too much time on that possession, did Indianapolis. Looked like a free one for him.
Crouch for 3. That's no good. Miller with the rebound. Mistimed it a little bit. Dearman is fouled by Moore or by Crouch. Pick one. And they're going to pick Mr. Moore. So Darren Moore will pick up that foul, and Dearman will go to the line.
Dearman first time at the line this afternoon.
First free throw is good, and Foster will come back in the game for Indianapolis. And Doug Herring will come in. Ames will take a seat for Indianapolis. And Dearman getting ready for a second free throw. Takes his time and makes it.
The lane violations all over there, by the way.
It wasn't called. 2:22 left to go here in this first half. Razor Sharks with an 11-point lead and possession. Miller working with Moore. Turnaround jumper no good as Miller went over the back of Dearman.
Yeah, Dave's going to get called for it. A little too hard on the shot there by Moore. A little too much muscle.
It was over the back. I mean, in the position he...
Oh, and then Miller.
Yeah, Miller. Foster brings it across midcourt. Jerice Crouch guarding him. Now Marshall. Pull-up jumper is good. Harry Marshall. And the lead now cut down to 9. Jerice Crouch harassed. Double team, but gets away with the help of Aaron Williams. Crouch going away from Foster. Scoop layup is no good. Artest with the rebound. Back the other way. Marshall off to the races. They caught the numbers. Scoop layup is good. Harry Marshall.
11 points in this quarter. Tariki averages 13.9.
And a minute and a half left to go in this first half. And the Razor Sharks drought in a run by Indianapolis. The shot does not go. Puts Aaron Williams at the line.
6-0 run by Indy here to cut within 7.
So they're sticking around, are the Diesels.
As we knew they would.
Yep.
And Harry Marshall just got stuck in between our test and the shooter, which was Williams. One of them was going to get the foul.
Aaron Williams' first free throw finally goes down on the first of two. Let's see if he can make back-to-back. He's had trouble at the line today. And Williams getting set. Rochester up by 8. And can't make the second one. So Williams struggling at the line. 8-point lead with 1:12 left to go here in this first quarter.
7 for Williams in the quarter for Rochester.
Diesels with it. Hart one-on-one against Miller. Working with him, trying to get it down low. Artest tried the right position, lost it, got it back. And they're going to say travel on Artest.
Yeah,
which I don't understand. Well, I mean, Artest went up with it, had it blocked, and came down with it.
Yeah, I think that's what he was arguing too.
Yeah.
I was hoping to see him go up. I want to see that 300 pounds get off the floor.
You want to see it dunk?
No, well, yeah, I'd love to see it dunk. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end.
It's true. Crouch one-on-one against Foster. Step back, baseline jumper, in and out, no good. Moore had it. Artest falling on the floor, gets it out to Foster. Cross-court Hart. He's got to stop. Pop for 3. Bang! And they needed that one, did the Diesel. And just like that, a 5-point lead stolen away. Dearman has it. Foul hard by Herring. And Dearman wants a flagrant here.
Oh, no.
As you can see, it's just a hard foul.
Yeah, he just got him on the hand. He got him on the hand. Or on the arm, on the right arm, rather. Apparently Doug Herring changed his uniform again.
And so with 23.4 left to go, Jermaine Dearman is at the free throw line with a chance to cut this lead for the Razorsharks down. First one is good. What is now a 4-point lead for Rochester. Dearman waiting for that second free throw. Gets it up and gets it in. Now a 3-point lead. So if you're the Indianapolis Diesels, you've got to be happy with this lead cut down to 3 as the Razorsharks wait for their final possession here. 12 on the shot clock. 12 left to go in the first half. Shot clock turned off. Crouch one-on-one. Herring out to Crouch. 1 on the shot clock. Could he get it off? He does. Within a 3 of tying this game up. Stolen away by Miller as he tips the entry pass. Back the other way. Rochester Moore can't finish. Coker had it knocked away. And here come the Diesels back.
This pass by Dane Miller. No look pass. By Jason Williams.
Miller. Great play by Dearman and the foul. Wow. And Coach Moten doesn't like it. It's a move. Moore. Dearman.
Tracy Stamper, the referee, right in front of us saying, how about you step back a little bit when you're yelling at me? Dearman, who had 6 points in the second quarter, he's got 6 for the game. Now with 8 with that basket, and they'll miss the free throw.
And that's no good. Back the other way come the Razorsharks, up by 4. Just on the way here in the third quarter, here at the Blue Cross Arena in Rochester, New York. Indianapolis is in town. It's Premier Basketball League action. Thank you for those watching on Soul of the South Network and in Nova TV. Also here, Time Warner Sports Channel. And it will remain Rochester basketball.
Hart jumped on it on the out-of-bounds line. That's probably why Dane Miller was stepping away from it. The Diesels with the momentum at the end of the first half with a 10-3 run and then the three-pointer by Rochester to make it a 10-6 run. to close out the half. So they've cut into the lead here. It should make for an exciting third and fourth quarter.
Reggie Stallings pull-up jumper, no good. Coker with the rebound. They're going to call a foul, and the Diesels do not like it.
Stallings 0 for 5 on the day, just cannot get his motor running. But, you know, it's one thing about this Rochester team. They are so deep, as Ryan Anderson said at halftime, that if someone's having a bad day, you know someone's going to pick them up.
And they want to reset the shot clock and game clock. And they do so. All right, so inbounds. Miller gets it from Moore after he inbounds it. Miller dribble drive, no foul call, back the other way. Coach Moten not happy about that.
They ran right into Dearman. Here's the knob it.
That's good. He measures it for 3, and just like that, folks, Rochester only up by 1. So the Diesels come out swinging offensively.
Knobnit is starting to heat up here, 2 for 5 from three-point land. He is their three-point shooter.
As Miller off the dribble, very tough to keep people in front of, or very tough for people to stay in front of Miller. He just dribbles right by him. Hard to defend, hard to block shots. He can go right by Dearman. It's the only one able to put a hand up to alter that shot at the last minute. First free throw is good. Rochester back up by 2. 53-51, 10:30 left to go here in the third quarter.
This is Dane's first trip to the line.
Second free throw, no good.
It is, indeed it is.
Rebounded by Douglas. Back the other way come Indianapolis. Dearman working against Coker in the post. Cut off there, back out. Douglas jumper is good. Noah Douglas. And this game is tied at 53.
Douglas with 10 points. Dearman couldn't do it, so Noah did.
Miller with a jumper, step back, that's no good. Hart off the dribble, scoop layup, that's no good. But Douglas with the putback. And the Diesels are up by 2. Timeout, Coach Moten. And Crawford, Moore, McCroskey, and Crouch. And they had an extra man on the floor.
That is the first time that has happened this year. Rochester looking a little bit disorganized, certainly, with too many men on the court. You don't see that much at all. And the technical is good there, and that's an important one. That's one to write down, the tech by Hart. This is going on with a 9-1 run for Indy, now a 10-1 run.
Crouch gets it across midcourt. 9:46 left to go here in the third. Crouch over to McCroskey. Crouch for 3. That's no good. Perfect position by Hart to box out Crawford, who has about 3 inches on him. And a big steal there away from Crawford as Hart gives it right back. Council pulls it back out. Crouch met by Dearman, poked away out of bounds. Rochester loses it again. So sloppy basketball by the Razorsharks.
This is the first lead since the 6-minute mark of the first quarter for Indianapolis when they led by 4.
Down low, Dearman. And for 2, the entire bench for the Razorsharks saying, why no call of travel? Doesn't matter. A call is a call, and that's the way it stands. Less than 9 left to go. Rochester, just like that, trailing by 5. Step back jumper, no good. Tipped away. Picked up by Indianapolis. Marshall all the way. Can't get it to go. Tipped back out. They get it. Behind the back and in for 2 for Dearman.
Knobnit with a behind the back pass. This is the biggest lead for the Diesels with 7-point margin. And it is a 14-1 run, the largest run of the game for Indianapolis.
And the Razorsharks can't buy a basket. Back the other way. Hart does not have the numbers. Pull-up jumper is good. Indianapolis has on a run. And they need to take a timeout for the Razorsharks. 8:10 left to go. Dearman, Hart, Douglas, and Marshall out on the court for Indianapolis. Rogers, Moore, Crawford, McCroskey, and Council out on the court. Stolen away from Moore. Off, Marshall with it. Lobs it up. And out of bounds as Marshall and Hart could not connect for that dunk. And he's upset with himself. Kevin, what just happened?
You throw in a technical foul for too many players on the bench. 2 timeouts by Rochester. The only basket was Dane Miller's foul shot. So Rochester just not ready to play here in the third. And Indianapolis, the Diesel firing at all cylinders.
Scott Rogers. Build it back up as he went straight towards the hole, driving. And the rim kindly showing mercy on the Razorsharks.
It took a while to develop there, that basket. It was a 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 bounces, but that's the way to break a run.
As Rogers completes the three-point play. Light pressure by Rochester. Broken a little bit here, and finally across midcourt, Marshall. And Ahmet. Dearman. Over to Marshall. Thought about a 3. Drives back out. Dearman. Jumper. That's no good. Put back in and out. No good.
That's the height of Indianapolis. They weren't able to convert there, but that's what it's doing to this Rochester team. Right back the other end for Council.
Melvin Council on the other end scores back up to a 4-point lead.
You would think with a 16-1 run they'd have a bigger lead, but certainly not. It's certainly in their grasp. 4 points now for Rochester.
Dearman working hard, in for 2. And he pulls it back up to a 6-point lead for Indianapolis. Council off the dribble, Hart. They're going to say foul. He pushed off on Hart. Did Council. So Noah Douglas will take a seat. Daniel Artest back in the game for Indianapolis.
Called the offensive there, Melvin. We tried to get him at halftime. I wanted to talk to him about that playoff experience, but we were unable to do so. But Ryan Anderson, very kind to step in.
Artest working against Crawford. Can't get it to go. Tipped away. Picked up by Rogers, who's off to the races. Slicing through the defense. And a foul. That's going to be on Artest.
Yeah, I would think so. Everybody was calling for a foul down this side. Can you imagine the one-on-one games between Daniel Artest and his brother?
Yeah, I don't think they would call a foul.
My goodness. Yeah. Can you imagine the games out in the driveway? I mean, that would have been nuts. Get in here, boys.
Or at the playground. I mean, you're going to a playground, you're playing outside in New York, and you're playing on opposite teams. Imagine that. Wow.
Here's Keith Wilkins, who doesn't shoot threes, but he hit one today. He's hit one thus far.
They're going to need to keep that offensive output up, especially if the Razorsharks start piecing this together. Off the hands of Lucan. Back out to Council. Gives it to Rogers. Back out for Crawford. That jumper no good. Rebounded by Hart. Back the other way. Comes Indianapolis. Marshall will get it across midcourt. And Abid. One-on-one with Williams. Spins around. Scoop layup. And in for 2.
He has played for this team for 4 years. He's got plenty of experience. Did not expect that, though. He's known for his three-point shooting.
He looks like one of the Elmsworth brothers. Chris Elms, like Thor? He does look like him.
I think he would appreciate you saying that. You probably want to trade places with him, too. Oh,
that's no good, as that hit nothing but net. But unfortunately didn't go through the cylinder.
No. And Coach Moe not very happy with Scott Rogers' shot selection there. A little defense here, a little press.
Hart gives it up. That's the one they wanted. Dearman left alone, in for two. And the Diesel really shocking these Razor Shark fans who don't know what to do with themselves as Williams gets the scoop layup and in for two. Rochester got to get back on that offensive kick. 5 minutes left to go here in the third. Hart down low. Can't get it to go.
It finally missed. They have not missed much this quarter.
McCroskey in for two and the foul.
Saw that one happening. Dearman, by the way, 10 points in this quarter, 16 on the game for the team leader for Indianapolis.
And with all the work that Indianapolis has done in this game, they only lead by 5.
Yeah.
So this third quarter, which has been a very good one for Indianapolis, only has them at this point with a 5-point lead, depending on what McCroskey does here. Now a 4-point lead.
Make those free throws. Well done.
And a turnover as Marshall and Lucan don't get on the right page. That results in a quick turnover. So Rochester will get the ball back. 4:49 left to go here in this third quarter. McCroskey to inbound. Gets it to Crawford. Back to McCroskey, trying to set up that offense. One-on-one dribble, goes up and can't get the shot to go. So the Razor Sharks playing exactly what Indianapolis did. Driving to the hole, slow down the clock a little bit, try to get some points back at the line.
And Indianapolis has a player in there. I have no idea who he is. He's number 22 and he's not on anybody's roster. I don't know if they picked him up at halftime.
I thought that was Chris Ames. Chris Ames, yep. So Chris Ames in
You got him.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have him.
I remember him because I think he started. I haven't seen him in a minute, but he's back out on the court now.
Good. There he is.
Marshall pressured all the way, harassed, trying to find somebody to help him. Ames does help. Hart off the dribble, gives it up. Dearman fouled by Crawford. And they're going to get Williams and Crawford.
That's going to be on Chaz Crawford, and certainly was right in on that. And yeah, Chris Ames did start the game. I just don't know why I don't have him. Not a bad thought.
But now putting Dearman on the line to shoot free throws, 4:29. And it seems like we've been stuck at this 4-minute mark because both teams are driving to the hole on every possession right now. First free throw is good. Diesel take it back up to
69 here.
4-point lead. Trying to make it a 5-point lead is Dearman.
Rochester outscoring Indianapolis here, 12-7 after that second timeout that Lawrence Moulton took. The sit-down timeout, we can call it. So things have changed a little bit with Rochester gaining the momentum here.
Williams working against our test. Back out, stolen by Hart. Council the only one that can stop him. Crossover, floater, can't get it to go. Knocked away, picked up, McCroskey lost it. Foster goes for it, behind the back. McCroskey, one-on-one. Couldn't get it to go, but a foul called.
And Louis McCroskey developed that play, took it all the way. Dearman's going to get called on the foul. Not happy about that, but Louis McCroskey, what a terrific pickup here.
And with 3:58.
Williams in his second year. That's good experience. It's going to be a different look for Rochester here. Scott Rogers was running the point before. Let's see what happens on this end where Rochester seems to be picking back up the pace. They're playing a little bit more Razor Sharks basketball, if you will.
All right, 3:58 left to go here in this third quarter. First free throw by McCroskey's no good. And this is the nightmare that continues to haunt the Razor Sharks, the free throw line. Second free throw, no good.
Now, his first trip to the line was not a good one.
Back the other way comes Indianapolis with a 4-point lead. Hart, pick set there. swings it back around. Ames with it, off the dribble. Deep in the corner, Foster thought about it.
And on that play, there was a double team on the near side, a double team on the far side, and good defense on the part of the Rochester Razorsharks. That's what caused that travel. And I suspect we'll see that on the next possession, too.
Deep in the corner, Council with Harder all over him. Dribbles it out. He's got 7 on the shot clock. Dribbles away. Gets to the corner. Jerice Crouch with a jumper. They needed that one in the worst way.
And that's Council to Crouch and hustle. It was a loose ball. He went after it. Didn't out Council.
2-point lead for Indianapolis. Diesels with possession and the lead. Council guarding Foster, finds Hart, working it down low against Artest and Williams. They've been going at it all day. Artest working, has it knocked away, gets it back, goes up.
Oh, shot clock violation. Great defense by Aaron Williams. Artest does not like putting that ball on the ground. And they get the shot clock violation, but I think it could have been a travel right after that. And at that possession, Rochester did not double team, but they certainly collapsed on Artest when he was hanging out in the lane. And let's take a look here. Look at Aaron Williams. And Williams doing a great job just keeping his hands up and staying off of him, because he very well could have gotten a foul here.
That's body versus body right there, leverage. Jerice Crouch, scoop layup in for 2. Game will be tied. Stolen away. So the Razorsharks thinking about it a little bit too much here. 69-69, Crouch over to Crawford. Back to Crouch, 10 on the shot clock. Foster on him defensively. Pick set by Williams. Step back, Crouch over from McCroskey for 3. McCroskey, Crawford.
What a terrific set of possessions here for Rochester, despite the fact the basket did not go in. That's going to be on Dearman. It'll be on Dearman. 8-1 run for Rochester now to tie this ball game up with 1:56 played in the third.
So now Chaz Crawford at the free throw line. All of that and still tie score. Crawford's first free throw is good. And that had to touch the back of the rim, front of the rim before it went down off the backspin.
And that was hustle down there for Rochester. The change in lineup has helped here.
And Rochester finally gets the lead back here. Second free throw is good by Crawford. So Rochester up by 2, 71-69. Still a minute 55 left to go here in the third quarter. A little pressure by Rochester. Ames with it, and gets it across midcourt. Foster cut off there by Rochester. Playing defense, pokes it away, foul on Louis.
Yep, he got his hand in there. By the way, those 2 foul taps by Chaz Crawford that he made, first 2 for him, which were very helpful after McCroskey had missed 2. So the Colt shooting from the line, pick it up a little bit.
John Hart gets a well-deserved rest for Indianapolis. Into the game for him will be Harry Marshall.
And Harry was hanging out in the corner, waiting for a 3.
Foul called as Marshall hit the deck.
Now, did he get pushed or did he trip?
Well, it doesn't matter now.
He came around. Yeah, no, it doesn't. He came around from the corner. It looked like he was setting up for a 3.
It looked like he tripped, but there might have been an assist on that trip.
Yes, we'll assume so for the Indianapolis fans who are watching.
Well, Marshall will head to the free throw line. 1:39 left to go here in the third. Rochester with a 2-point lead. Boy, this has been fun for both teams.
13-4 for Marshall today.
First free throw is good. So John Hart, who I just said got a well-deserved rest, his rest is over.
Just got a blow. Harry Marshall has his average for the year. He's at 13 now, 13.4 for the year.
Jermaine Dearman takes a seat for Indianapolis. Marshall's second free throw is good. And so the game tied at 71. A minute 35 left to go here in the third. Crouch with it. Foster on him defensively. Pick set by Crawford. And are they gonna get Crawford, or are they gonna get Foster?
They're going to get Mr. Foster.
And so Foster's making his case, and it's a good one.
And this is
Crawford came out. You can see here.
Not much.
Yeah.
But it's 5. It is a shooting foul, 2 shots for the rest of the way here in the third, pardon me.
Jarice's first free throw is good. So Crouch puts Rochester back up by 1. Second free throw is good.
6 of the last 8 points for Rochester by Jarice Crouch. How's that for substitution?
2-point lead for Rochester. Indianapolis feeling a bit of a press by Rochester lightly, and they break it. Hart over to Foster, draws Williams on a switch. Scoop layup blocked by Crawford. Back the other way comes McCroskey. Crouch for 3.
Rochester up by 5 now.
And a minute left to.
I think we got the edge here, but we'll see.
5-point lead for Rochester. Indianapolis with possession. Marshall with it. Hart thought about it. Dearman lost it. Williams comes away with it. Artest all over him. Finally gets it to Crawford. Council to get it across midcourt. 40 seconds left to go here in this third quarter. Council gives it up baseline. Saves it out to Crouch. Perfect interception there before backcourt violation. Ames one-on-one with Crouch. Dances around. Williams, jumper, no good. Rebounded by Ames. Back the other way. Shot clock turned off. 19 seconds. Given to Marshall. Cross-court Hart. Thought about it. Drives towards the hole. Scoop layup is good. And the foul.
Hart putting Indy within 3 here with a few ticks left. And here comes the three-pointer shooter, David Nobnet, 6'5", out of Chicago State.
And Hart will go to the free throw line to try to complete the 3-point play. Boy, what an exciting third quarter.
Hart played at Purdue, did not play too much. He transferred to IUPUI, all Big Ten, academic All-American, Mr. Hart.
2-point lead for the Razorsharks. They have possession. 6 on the game clock. McCroskey, that's no good. Marshall, he's going to have to put it up. Half court. Doesn't get it to go. And that is game 3. But these two teams have been playing hard 3 quarters of basketball. If you were giving out rounds, Rochester won the first one. And I don't know what you would say about the second quarter. Rochester had the lead, so I guess you can claim that one. But Indianapolis came out strong in that third quarter.
Rochester up by 6 in the beginning of the third, up by 2 here, so they had to battle back, and Jarice Crouch was a big deciding factor in that.
As Jarice caught a mismatch problem, drove right towards the hole, couldn't get the shot to go, but he'll head to the free throw line. That's him just dancing right there and just couldn't get over that rim and down.
He's 2 for 2 from the line today. Rochester as a team, 18 of 28, 64%. That's pretty much their season average. Indy,
Crouch,
72%.
first free throw is good. Just getting ready to start off, and for those watching, it's the fourth quarter. Rochester now up by 3. Make that 4.
And Jarice Crouch with a hot hand for Rochester. He's got 17 points, leading scorer for Rochester, followed by Aaron Williams with 14.
Marshall over to Artest, back to Marshall. And on the jumper. That's no good. Back of the iron. Hart with the rebound. Marshall thought about it. Drives towards the hole. Gives it up to Dearman, in for 2.
Dearman now with 19 points, one of 5 players for the Diesels in double figures.
And a great crowd on hand here at the Blue Cross Arena. Jarice Crouch with Marshall on him defensively. Over to Council. Council draws John Hart. Pick set by Moore. Council dribbles past, stops, continues to dribble, scoop layup. That's no good. Rebounded by Artest. Two-point lead for Rochester.
No foul there. I thought Hart may have been called for reaching in.
Dearman swinging it around is Indianapolis. Down low. Crawford all over him. In, knocked away. Put back is good, and the foul. Mr. Artest.
His first points of the game after a double team on Dearman.
And an authoritative 2 points for Mr. Artest. What a show he put on after making that shot.
Yeah, and I think Darren Moore's going to get called for the foul there. All right, so Rogers and Miller back in. We haven't seen them since the sit-down timeout.
So Council and McCroskey will take a seat. So Rogers, Crouch, Miller, Crawford, and Moore out on the court for Rochester. And Daniel Artest at the free throw line, waiting.
So 2 points for Artest today and 5 rebounds. He looks like his brother, doesn't he?
He does. And it's in for 2.
Are you kidding me? You see him running down the court
trying to silence the crowd here at the Blue Cross Arena.
Relatively quiet.
Crouch pull-up jumper is no good. Rebound, fought for, and stepped out of bounds. I believe once Marshall had it, he had stepped out of bounds. So Rochester will set the inbounds. 1 point lead for Indianapolis. Rogers down low, working. Back out to Rogers for Moore. Trying to get into Crawford, knocked away and picked up. Foul called on Crawford. This game has been very close thus far. Artest will take a seat. Dearman, who just took like a breather, is back in the game now. And Ames will take a seat.
Dearman's certainly the workhorse. This is how he gets 25 a game. One of the top players on the team. One of the top players in the league, frankly.
Noah Douglas back out on the court, too. He's been a problem all day for Rochester. Namit gives it out. Dearman. And they're going to say that's a charging foul.
Yeah, Namit's going to get called for the foul. Third foul for the big man.
He pleads his case, but nonetheless, it's a turnover. Back the other way. Indianapolis by 1. Rochester with possession. Crawford trying to set up a pick. He does. Miller goes up, can't get it over the rim. Moore gets it. His putback muscled in for 2.
And muscled is a very good way of putting it. He had the height there.
9:38 left to go here in this game. Rochester up by 1. 80-79. Hart, step back jumper. Doesn't hit anything there. Rochester back the other way. Miller one-on-one, up and in, charge.
Oh, no basket here.
Charge, Mr. Miller.
Let's see, we'll get a good look on this. I don't think he stopped moving.
I'm not doing a great job. He got in front of him. Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't get his feet set. Yeah. Well, call's made. No, he's moving the whole time. Yeah, I can watch it more than that, and he'll still be moving.
Marshall with possession. Trying to get it down low, Dearman. Dearman gives it up. Nice give and go and pass to Noah Douglas. In for 2.
Third lead change here this quarter.
81-80. Indianapolis with the lead. Rochester with the basketball. Crouch with Marshall chasing him. Nice shot. Therese Crouch with a floater, which has been the new NBA thing, floaters. Seeing more floaters than I've ever seen before.
Drives coaches nuts.
Namit can't get that to go. Rebound.
Uh-oh.
Dearman had it. Crouch lost it out of bounds. It'll be Indianapolis basketball.
Good hustle there.
8:26 left to go here in this game. Rochester with a 1-point lead. Indianapolis with possession. Marshall lost it, never got it back comfortably. Rogers gives it up. Crouch for three. That's no good. Knocked around and out of bounds. Coker loses it off of his hand.
I give Scott Rogers credit. Got it to Jerice Crouch. He was the hot hand, but a little bit too aggressive down there under their own basket as Rochester, and they turn it over.
Marshall getting it across midcourt. 8:08 left to go in the game. Rochester up by 1. 82-81. Anamnik draws Rogers. Working it down low. Gets it to Douglas. And in for 2. Noah Douglas is having a big game today.
Noah Douglas, one of 5 Diesel double figures. He has got 16 in this game.
Rogers against Hart. Stolen away. Marshall on the floor. Hart picks it up. Drives cross court. Pull up for 3. Ouch!
That's their 3-point shooter. I look shades of Kentucky and Wisconsin last night. Got to get in his face.
And now with a big 3 there. Indianapolis up by 4. Crouch, scoop layup, gets it to go. They need a big bucket. They go to Jerice Crouch.
Crouch is taking over for Rochester since the third quarter. He's got 5 points in this quarter.
Dearman slicing through. Lost it. More on the ground.
All time.
And a
Well done.
timeout.
Well done. He was in enemy territory.
And Indianapolis
16 wins.
and counting depending on the end of this game. And Indianapolis looking at this as an opportunity to beat a very successful team. Oh my goodness.
Dane Miller said not my house.
Baseline with authority. Game tied at 86.
Dane almost got a steal there on a Knobnet who was 3 for 6 from 3-point lane.
Hart, he says that it tipped away. Knobnet for 3. That's no good. Dearman with the rebound. Out to Marshall, swinging it around. Hart will take one. That's no good. Dearman knocked out of bounds. It'll be Rochester basketball.
John Hart does a lot for this team. That's not one of them, though. 18.5 points per game. Actually, he may be. Yeah, he is. He's 16 of 43. So everything I just said, just rewind and go right through it.
Tied game at 86 between Rochester and Indianapolis. Premier Basketball League Championship, Game 1, best of 3. Crouch swings it around. Miller over to Moore. Crawford can't get it to go, too hard. Back the other way.
The hoop was so big.
Just under 6 left to go here in the 4th. Marshall, Namnet. Dearman working against Moore. Moving all the way around. Ames, put back, can't get it to go.
I just tossed that up, and he must not have thought that the clock was resetting, but the clock reset. He rushed that shot at Ames.
Crouch draws Dearman on a switch, swinging him back around. Rogers knocked away, picked up by Miller though. Miller baseline, running into nothing but Diesel players. Crawford, put back is good.
Great rebound and put back for Chaz Crawford. 6th lead change of the quarter.
5:10 left to go here in this game. Rochester up by 2. Indianapolis with possession, 88-86. Marshall catches Moore, double team, jumper, can't get it to go. Crawford with the rebound, stolen away and out of bounds. And it will go to the Razorsharks. Scott to inbounds. He'll do so. 4:54 left to go. Rochester with 2-point lead in possession. Crouch draws Marshall after a double team. Miller gets Ames defensively. Miller working against Ames, and they're going to call a foul on Ames. It was almost a tech.
I think you can tell he did not like that call.
Not at all.
Both teams well under their season average. The Razorsharks averaging 126 points a game. Diesels 104. They'll be lucky if they hit 100 today. There's a look at the foul.
Inbounds, Miller gives it to Moore, back to Miller. Draws Dearman on a switch, trying to get it down low, and does to Chaz Crawford. And Chaz Crawford picking up his offensive play here. 4:24 left to go.
That is the last two baskets for Crawford in the same place. High percentage shots, 4-point lead. A little bit of a cushion for Rochester in this quarter that has seen 6 lead changes.
Hart, floater, got it. They needed it. He got it. Lead cut down to 2. Rochester with possession and the 2-point lead. Crouch, one-on-one, Marshall there to greet him. Foul call on Marshall.
And Hart with 14 points for the Diesels.
Dearman and Douglas with Marshall. And they're saying that's a tip, so it's Miller working against Ames.
From the inbound.
All the way, it was Dane Miller's number. Called from beginning to end on that one. Rochester back up by 4. Ames, Miller, stolen away, picked up by Crouch. .325 left to go here in this game. Rochester, pull back, step back.
The hitman, 16 points.
They needed that shot in the worst way. It looked like Rochester was taking that momentum away. Williams working against Douglas. Front rim, no good. Dearman with the rebound. He'll bring it back up. Crawford chasing him. Lost it. Gets it back. Marshall against Crouch. Ames gets a shoulder to Council.
I think that's going to be Hart that's going to get the foul. It is. He'd have to slow things down a little bit because it's the Dane Miller and Chaz Crawford show here, along with Melvin Crouch in the fourth quarter for Rochester.
And it'll be Miller to inbounds. Rochester up by 4. 90 to, look at it, body check. And a few words between the two, and then they walk away. Crouch to Williams, scoop layup for 2. Yeah. Rochester back up by 6.
You better get out of the way of Aaron Williams.
2:30 left to go here in the game. Council all over Hart. Picks up his dribble, gives it over to Dearman. Dearman with Crawford all over him. Now driving towards the hole. Puts it up. 2:10 left to go here in the fourth. Rochester up by 4. Boy, I tell you, Indianapolis will not go away quietly into the night. Miller against Ames. And Miller.
This will be the 5th.
Will try to, well, Coach Moulton was trying to convince he was trying to make a 3.
Yep, well, they're shooting regardless. Oh, he was yelling 3?
Yeah, he was yelling 3 because he's saying Miller was trying to take a shot so he can get three free throws, excuse me. So they got that on Ames and not Hart. Hart pleading his case.
Yeah, it was on 22.
Yep. Making sure that he can stay in this game. Understandably so, it's a close game.
Yeah. Chris Ames not happy at all.
And Namath's back in the game. Ames takes a seat. Miller in and out, no good. Rebound. Back the other way, Diesel. Down by 4. Marshall setting up the play. Crouch gives it up. Dearman. Dearman gives a cutting Marshall foul. So 1:40 left to go. We're going to get to this point in the game, folks, where it's going to slow down considerably.
They're Great foul, Jerice Crouch. Look at that. He got in the way. He disrupted. He got called for the foul, but that's not a bad foul at all.
So Gary Marshall at the free throw line. Diesel down by 4.
Say Gary or Harry?
Gary. Or did I say Gary?
Yeah.
I meant Harry.
You either got the producer or the football player. We're going to go with the football player.
Marshall with a second free throw to cut it. Can't get it to go. Tipped away, out of bounds, and they're going to call it Indianapolis basketball. So they'll get it, keep it here. 3-point lead for Rochester.
Can we review that one? I don't know if Lawrence Moe was shaking his head at the call or shaking his head at the play.
So Marshall inbounds. Hart. Counsel all over him. Dribbling past him. Scoop layup. Can't get it to go, but a foul called. So 5 seconds have gone by, and here are the Diesel back at the free throw line to cut into this lead again.
Yeah, you got to play a little cleaner basketball down here because you do not want the losing team to be scoring points when the clock is not running, and that's exactly what's happening here. Or about to happen here. If Hart can put it in, and he does.
First one's good. He'll get another. Chris Ames back into the game for Indianapolis.
Hart is perfect at the line, 4 for 4 on the day.
As Marshall,
Marshall
walked right over with Jerice Crouch to hear what the coach was going to say to Crouch.
I thought he was going to ask Coach Moe for his autograph.
Second free throw by Hart is good.
Yeah, he's perfect, 5 for 5.
I don't know if Coach is going to grant any autographs, depending on how this game ends up. 1:30 left to go in the game, and Rochester only up by 1. They have possession. Marshall on Crouch. Out comes Douglas. Back to his man. Now Marshall and Crouch one-on-one again. 7 on the shot clock. Pick set. Back out. Miller. Baseline. Ames all over him. Gives it out. Hart trying to get by Counsel. Doug. And with 1 minute exactly left in this game, Rochester up by 3, 98-95, with John Hart heading to the line.
Jerice got called for the foul there. There's the missed 3 and the putback.
Alvin Counsel, big play there. Hart, first free throw is good.
6 for 6 from the line for Hart.
I tell you. Diesel's playing hard here in this fourth.
19 points for Hart in this game.
Hart. Second free throw is good. Oh, baby. Rochester up by 1, 98-97, less than a minute to go. Crouch. Marshall. One-on-one. Crouch off the dribble. Left to go. Still time in this game. Rochester.
The refs let him play on both ends of the floor.
And Crouch. And with 33.9 left to go, Miller set the inbounds. Indianapolis up by 1. 99-98. Crouch. Trying to set the ball up to get it to Williams. Cut off there by Douglas. Back out. Crawford and Crouch play catch. Back to Crouch. Double team. Out to Williams. Knocked away.
Then and putting the ball down. So much for my analysis.
Hart. Hassled. Knocked away. Stolen. Miller with it. 10 seconds.
I was waiting on a timeout here. I thought he was going to call a timeout when he crossed. There is a foul there. There's a foul by John Hart. And Dearman is moving his feet there. So either way, that's a foul. And they've got nothing to argue about. But I will tell you this, on the far end, it was Hart who slipped on the logo to set this up.
Wow. Miller, first free throw to tie it. It's no good. He gets another 4.4 left to go. 99-98. Miller's got to recollect himself here to try to tie this game up.
No box out here.
And everybody wants to get it together. Now, the refs are making sure the scoreboard.
They're talking timeouts.
Yep, they want to know if they have any left. He's got a 20 left is what the ref is trying to verify. And it's the timing of asking the question after the first missed free throw. Icing the free throw shooter. Miller, second free throw is no good.